All right, Ashley, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
So, how's your trip been so far?
My trip
Down
has been lovely. Busy, but lovely.
there. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how you grew up and where you're from.
I grew up in a single parent household, a single father. I'm from Goldsboro, North Carolina, but I currently live in the Raleigh Durham Triangle.
Okay, so here over the last maybe year or two, I've been coming across a lot more people from North Carolina. What's going on in North Carolina where everybody's seeming to come up really hard at the same time?
North Carolina is up and coming. There's so much infrastructure in North Carolina. Amazon is there. Parts of Google is there now. So I think with those two big names, it is just causing North Carolina to grow so fast, especially the Triangle.
So, did you spend your entire life there, or
I traveled a bit. I was in the military for a few years, so I traveled around in the military for a while. And once I got out, I just returned back to North Carolina.
so did you spend any time at Bragg?
Yes, I did spend time at Bragg. Not my favorite place, but I did spend time there, and it was kind of like a 360 type of thing because my father was also stationed at Bragg as well, and he was airborne. Yeah.
Okay, my mother was airborne in Fort
What?
Campbell, Kentucky.
Really?
So I grew up. A lot of my friends are military.
Yes, your mom is tough because they asked me to go airborne. I was like, no, the stuff weighs more than I do. No.
Oh yeah, it was yeah. She and also she got her. She was the first woman to get her spurs in the company she was in.
What?
First woman, period.
That's a big deal.
Yeah,
That's a
so
big deal.
it's
Yes,
pretty
salute.
proud of that.
Yes, I salute your mom. She's a big deal.
So how did you get into the beauty business?
I got into the beauty business as a kid. I always wanted to do makeup. I was always into makeup, but I didn't really have anyone to teach me because, again, I lived in a single father household. That's so uncommon. But as I got older, I started dibbling dabbling with makeup, and then I met some friends that were makeup artists, so they started teaching me about it. But I wanted to design my own line after I was diagnosed with endometriosis and uterine fibroids because it was at that point I realized that the toiletries that we use, all the way down to some of the foods we eat, could cause some of the medical conditions that we have. So I'm trying to develop a brand that is going to cater to the industry and provide a vegan way or a non-toxic way of beautifying yourself.
Now you said it's endo. Say that one more time.
Endometriosis.
And you mentioned fibroids. Is that similar or?
They're two separate conditions. Endometriosis is where the lining of your uterus grows outside of itself, and uterine fibroids are benign tumors that can either grow inside or outside of the uterus.
And is that common? Because I have a friend of mine that she has fibroids and she
Mhm.
talks about that often. She actually just visited the hospital for that.
Mhm.
Is that a common thing amongst women?
In African American women, yes, it is.
Oh wow.
Yes, especially the fibroids. I think the endometriosis is affecting women in general, but the fibroids, yes, African American women are more susceptible to getting uterine fibroids.
So when you're talking vegan, is vegan going vegan or eating cleaner, is that it helps a lot. Obviously it helps with weight and things of that
Mhm.
nature, but you also mentioned, it being your product being vegan based. So kind of break that down in reference to putting those products on your body.
I found products that are vegan or just not toxic in general, such as being gluten free or soy free, helpful to my body and my conditions just because of the inflammation that comes along with endometriosis. I've noticed, like, if I'm subjecting myself to products that may have gluten or soy in them, I notice that it triggers the pain and the inflammation within my body. So I've been very conscious to try to stay away from consuming products or utilizing products that may be produced on machinery that produces products with soy or gluten in them.
Now, is that a thing? Vegan products a thing versus the food? Because I know the food is, a lot of restaurants are popping up, especially here in Atlanta. People are trying to eat cleaner, but you know, when you present that to someone and say this is a vegan, based company, are
Mhm.
they are they more open? I mean, how do people feel? How are they receiving
For
that?
those who are into the vegan lifestyle, they're like, oh, this is great. But for someone who may not be so much into the vegan lifestyle, they're like, oh, what's that? And then you have to kind of tell them, like, or explain to them, like, hey, these are certain things that may trigger certain conditions. This is why this product is designed that way.
So when, you're talking the beauty industry, there's a lot going on, especially with women empowerment and women feeling very good about themselves. And, women are winning all over the place. What type of advice could you give to people when it comes to makeup and things of that nature and lipstick and
Well, for me, I would say I started with lipstick because when you start with the lips, you just think about your mouth. That is a portal that goes inside your body. Like you talk, you drink, you chew, you eat, all of that you digest, you go through your body. Anyone that is interested or going into like beauty or, or looking at different cosmetics, I say just use what you want to use. It's vegan is not a trend for me. It's a way of life for me. Like I'm into physical fitness as well as, being conscious of what I eat. So it's not like just something that's trending. It is a lifestyle for me that I adopted once I was diagnosed with my medical conditions that I have. But I don't knock anyone that's not vegan because I understand that everyone has their own individual choices. So I always tell anyone, choose what you think is going to be in your best interest because we're all different.
Now I have a question about, vegans as a whole. Vegan chicken.
Vegan chicken.
I see it all the time, and I really, you have to break that down for me because I've seen, now they're talking vegan burgers and vegan chicken and pretty much everything. It reminds me of Play-Doh, and how, back in the day you take Play-Doh and I don't know if they're using cauliflower and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I need some type of insight, like from your perspective.
Well, for me, like I'm not like 100% vegan. I'm just conscious of what I eat.
Gotcha.
Based on my condition. There are a lot of places that are just smacking vegan on it, just because the term is just out here now. It's just recognizable now. But a vegan chicken, of course, the chicken is going to be vegan. What is the chicken's diet?
But is it? But I was under the impression that it's not actual chicken; it's vegetables, and they have put some type of. It's like a substitute for chicken wings,
such as like tofu or like cauliflower rice or something like that. I've never heard of the term vegan chicken unless I see it on a package that says, this chicken, is vegan raised. But the diet, look at the diet of a chicken. You're just putting a term on it. Just like when you go buy a carton of eggs, it'll say cage free or it'll say vegetable fed eggs. The chicken was just fed vegetables or grass fed beef. You just look at the terms, so I think sometimes we read into it a lot when we say like, oh, vegan chicken or vegan sausage or vegan whatever. There are some meats that have been produced like they're vegetable meat, but how can a meat be a vegetable? Either it's a vegetable or it's a meat.
Got you. All right. So, all right. So the company, and the line you have is called Canvas Colors,
Yes.
Kind of break down, why you chose that name.
I chose Canvas Colors because when I think of a canvas, I think of a blank canvas that you can use to create whatever you want to create it to be. Like when you think about art, you think about an art canvas. It's blank. You can paint it, you can draw on, you can do whatever you want to do to it because we are all canvases. We are all God's masterpieces. He created us to be the way that He wanted us to be. Over growing up, sometimes there are things instilled in us that, we may agree with when we become adults. And as we turn ourselves into adults, then, you're like, hey, I don't necessarily agree with that. So then you turn into a canvas, you start over and you kind of paint your life the way you want it to be as opposed to how some things were instilled in you or some things that you've collected along the way in growing up.
you know, and as a entrepreneur, you know, and having a product and something to sell, you know, how's that process been like for you?
The process has been challenging as an entrepreneur because you first and foremost have to believe in yourself. You have to also believe in your product. So if I was selling toothpicks, I need to believe that these are the best toothpicks in the world, you know, but also having a personal story to becoming an entrepreneur in the project has been rewarding in itself because I understand that I don't despise small beginnings. You know, any entrepreneur set out to do something, they're not big and they don't blow up overnight. Things take time. And then, you know, they gradually happen. It's a process. So I've learned to respect the process. And I've also learned to be grateful for the opportunities that are presented to me, whether large or small.
And what have been some of the challenges you faced along the way?
Challenges for me, just trying to get myself out there, you know, being savvy with social media and things like that. You know, I'm honest enough to know that that's not my strong suit. So I've consulted with people to teach me how to utilize social media to create awareness around my brand.
Now we had you know, here in this facility, you know, obviously we have hairstylists and things of that nature, and there was a speaker here not too long ago, and he was speaking with the young ladies who were tenants in the facility, and one thing that he was talking to them about was products, and specifically products, and saying that, you know, as a hairstylist or a makeup artist, you know, you can only generate income when you're working.
Mm-hmm.
And once that's over with, you know, the income stops. So he said that, you know, hairstylists don't retire. And one thing that he was pushing to them was having, you know, their own products and actually having something that can sell while you're asleep.
Absolutely.
You know, so did you specifically decide to go into creating the product versus, you know, being a makeup artist or something like that, or how did that
Yes,
go?
I did specifically want to create a product that other artists could use because, like the gentleman was saying, like, you know, it is a good thing to want to be able to retire, but it's also a good thing to provide someone with something that could possibly create a job for someone else, you know. So it's not only about me winning, but it's also about the individuals that use my product, whether it's a makeup artist or a consumer, winning as well.
Right. So how can people find this product?
Yes, they can find it on my website at canvascolors.co. They can also find it on my social media platforms, My Canvas Colors on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. Well, once again, I appreciate you stopping by, and you know, look forward to seeing your line out there. You know, obviously, you know, I'm a guy, so I can't, you know, really get into the conversation as much as I would like to, but I'm learning, you know, being around a lot of women, and when we're talking about products and things of that nature. So I'm even learning about hair, you know, and stuff like that. So, you know, we get
It's a fun world. When you get into it, you be like, ooh. And especially when you see a good makeup job or you see a good hair, when you go out, you be like, oh God, their hair is not that good. Their makeup is not that good. Like you'll start to see things. You'll start to pick up on it. But it's fun. It's a whole new world. It's like women in electronics. Like, you know, guys, they're like, oh, this is the new, like this Canon. Or you might be like a Canon dude, or you a Sony guy or a Fuji guy. You know, that's the whole world. So when we go into that side, I'm like, oh, I didn't know this. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of the women say, you know, their husbands or boyfriends are starting to notice eyebrows and eyelashes.
Yeah, they do.
And things of that nature. I don't know if I want to get that far, but I guess sometimes you can't help it.
You can't help it when you're around it often.
Right.
You can't help but pick up some little things along the way.
All right. Well, appreciate it once again, and we're looking forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.